Men from hell, their scales align, doom-driven lords, their stars malign. They choke the earth with a serpent's greed. Break their grip or your soul will bleed.
Hello again. We're going to do a little bit of a long form video again today. A little sit down now that I've had my fun with songs for a little while. I've got kind of enough of them queued up if I want to use them for future videos like this one. That's what I can do. I don't have to worry about it. It gives me a little bit more control over the copyright things. If somebody else comes along and tries to copyright claim it, I can say, nah, timestamp, it's right down there. This is my video, my lyrics. It was written by me. May have been performed or whatever by AI, but the lyrics were written by me, so those are something that I can copyright. So that's kind of the reason why I've been spinning out a whole bunch of songs here recently. It's not my intention to just go with that way of doing things in the future. I'm probably going to spit out a few here and there in between the long form videos just for funsies. Some of them will be a little bit more serious just because whatever is on my mind at the time. That's why the channel's called Nonstop Thoughts, because that's kind of how my brain works. It just doesn't stop. That's why I'm awake now at 5 o'clock in the morning. Should have been in bed hours ago. But I'm probably not going to sleep. Got a doctor's appointment later on the phone, and because that's how things are done nowadays. And then I get to go to work after that, dead tired. But such is life. Anyway, enough about me. I've been watching Alex Jones for years now. He's like the main conspiracy theory guy, or he was till he got wrapped up in some things and then got threatened, and his whole life they finally caught up with him is what it was. And his whole narrative shifted at that point. Of course it did, because he's got a family, he's got a lot to lose. Not just monetarily. When somebody comes after your family, you've got a moral decision to make. Like, and you're like, the family comes first. You can't blame the man for doing what he had to do. But at a certain point, you're going to have to stand up for what's right, because your family is going to be affected along with the rest of the world. And that's what he's got tied up into now. Is the world affairs are no longer, his family's no longer going to be exempt from what's happening now. And he has kids, and I don't know if he had kids at the time. I think he did, but he was the original guy that started coming out about Epstein before anybody else had sniffed it out. He was really good. He was a top-tier journalist, in my opinion. Still is. But you can kind of see now, he got on the Trump train, the cult, the MAGA cult, when that started becoming a thing, and that was like when I stopped watching him. Because before he was the voice of reason, it didn't matter who was in office, he was calling them out. He called out Bush when he was in office. He called out Obama. But then suddenly, when Trump got in, everything was supposed to change. Trump managed to even fool Alex Jones, which is, you got to be a top level serpent to do that. But that's Trump. He's really good at talking. Really good at convincing people. That's the only reason why he's in office. It's the only reason why he's gotten away with what he's gotten away with. But even Alex Jones now is starting to come around and realize that he might have fucked up, that he might have been following the wrong guy, that he might have gotten wrapped up into a cult. And it's really interesting to see. And we're going to feature some of those right now. And I'm going to do a little bit of commentary throughout, kind of give my thoughts on the subject as I do. And we're going to hopefully see the return of Alex Jones before too long. Hopefully his mind is starting to come back around. But anyway, let's get into that right now.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of his death?
Yeah, sure. If
Hey,
I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
Mr. President,
Gentlemen, Trump's live televised cabinet meeting is just now taking questions from the press, and Trump just went off, basically blew up at a reporter for bringing up the Epstein whitewash project we're witnessing. And that's what it is. And I've told everybody this is going to be huge yesterday. And the Democrats are seizing it now because you've got Kash Patel and Bondi and all of them saying, yeah, we raided the other offices of the FBI. Comey was hiding stuff. Remember back in March? It's 14 terabytes and videos and hundreds of new child victims, and it's terrible stuff. And then now there is no list, there is no blackmail, there is no human trafficking. Well, then how is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for human trafficking? And a small minority of Trump supporters tried to spin this like it's something that Elon Musk is creating.
So there's one of the many videos where Trump is seen with Epstein. I don't know how much smoking gun evidence is needed. You shall know them by their fruits has to mean something. And Trump was best buddies with Epstein, by Epstein's own admission. And then it wasn't until after the things started coming out about Epstein that Trump then wanted to, distance himself from him. He was never really a friend of mine and all this shit. Like, it's amazing how fast Trump turned on Epstein the moment that it became inconvenient. Anyway.
No, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, even before the Elon split happened, went on TV like deer in the headlights and said, well, you're not going to like this, but there's nothing. And Epstein killed himself. And by the way, Crooks acted alone in Pennsylvania. We all saw what happened. We all know it's not true. And we have Patel and Bongino and all of them saying the same things we know about the cover-up in Butler and the rest of it. And the independent coroner, the top one in the U.S., examining Epstein's body, saying his neck's broken in 3 spots. I mean, and then they release a video of, well, like around the corner is the entrance to the area where his cell is, and look, you don't see anything there. And then there's missing time out of it. Confirmed. So you couldn't come up with a plan to cover this up and have it blow up bigger. If you're going to cover it up, you just shut up about it and say, oh, we're investigating. But no. So I want Trump to succeed. I've investigated this, and the victims, over a dozen of them, that are confirmed victims of Epstein, who fingered Bill Clinton and all of them, said, no, we never saw Trump at the island.
Little side note, there's theories out there that Epstein's still alive somewhere, but we'll never find out about that if that's true. And that's kind of a terrifying thought.
We never saw him at Zorro Ranch. We never saw him in New York at the place. And we've always known that. And you got the fake Jane Does over and over again that would come out that were fake. And E. Jean Carroll. And all of it. So I did my investigation into Trump over this back at the time I endorsed him 9 years ago. Plus. So why?
Yeah, and that's the time when Alex Jones stopped being Alex Jones, in my opinion. But I'm hoping to see a redemption arc here, Alex. Come back to us, buddy. We miss you. Come on back. Come on back. It's okay to admit that you were wrong. You say you're a man of integrity in your videos. It's like, come on. Like, you gotta see this for what it is. We let the serpent in, just like when Trump was talking about his poem, that poem that he loved to put in his campaigns. Silly woman, you knew exactly what I was when you let me in. It's like, yeah, we let the snake in the garden, and we got bit. But that doesn't mean we walk around and say, and, pretend like we didn't get bit. You got to run to the hospital and get the antivenom. And the antivenom here, as always, is the truth. So come on, Alex. Do what you've always done in the past. Come on back to us. You don't have to regain all that weight you lost. You can still be both things. You can still be the guy you've become now and still bring back the old Alex Jones and have the best of both worlds, buddy. We miss you. Come on back.
Then would Trump do this? And I'll get into that in a moment. But Trump's really gotten where he doesn't get testy with reporters. He just makes jokes at ones he doesn't like. But the fact that he got upset here is chumming the water.
And it's very telling. And he's going to get into a little bit of that. He's going to touch on it, but unfortunately, he's not going to tell it like it is.
So you've already got Republicans and Democrats calling for a congressional investigation. You're going to see Pam Bondi hauled in there, and they're going to ask her, okay, so you raided the offices of the FBI? And they had to go there themselves. They wouldn't turn it over. The Democrats. The head of the FBI in New York said, we're not working with them. Dig in. This is a war. In his email, he had to resign. You got Comey's daughter running the whitewash. It's all on record. And you've got, back at the time, his conviction that was just a whitewash 15 years ago. You have the U.S. attorney saying, no, I was told he's U.S. intelligence.
God, look at the size of that place. The giant helicopter landing pad. This is what evil does for you in this world, and that's how you know who's in control, is by how much power they have, by the just absolute fuckery they commit.
We got ABC News saying, oh, we've seen the Epstein file. We know everybody who's involved, but boy, we were told to cover it up. And you got John McCain's wife saying, oh, everybody knew he was running a sex.
So there's Clinton, and I mean, there's lots of photos and videos of Clinton and Epstein together, and everybody knows the Clintons were involved with Epstein. Everybody. In fact, most people think that that's the reason why Epstein, offed himself. Supposedly, he got Clintoned, as the saying goes. So it begs the question, though, who was in office when Epstein actually died? Well, no matter what you believe, one way or the other, who was in office? Come on, remember. Come on, Alex, remember. Come on, public, remember who was in office when Epstein did the deed or had the deed done to him, one of the two. Come on.
Rings with kids. And you got Prince Andrew's handler getting caught saying, oh, yeah, he was, with underage girls. So the story's out there. And when they killed Epstein and tried to cover it up, it made it the biggest story ever and really woke record numbers of people up.
And Alex Jones was the bringer of that information. Like, he was the first one to break this information. That's probably why he's talking about being as stressed out about this as he is, because he realizes now he's been betrayed. And so has everyone else. If you're a MAGA hat wearer, if you're one of the red cap wearers, the replacement for the Fez, if you're one of the MAGA, it's the rewording for magician, magi. If you're one of those cultists, it's time to wake up and realize that you've been infiltrated. Your mind has been taken over, and you need to break out of it. And maybe if we're lucky here, Alex will be at the spear point of that and help a lot of other people break out too. Because lots of people like me, we don't have the platform, at least not yet, right? Like, subscribe, comment. I'd appreciate it. Most people don't have the platform like Alex does to help break people free. And I think Alex realizes that he's been at least partially responsible for the mind washing, and he's got a moral conundrum now ripping him in half. God, I hope he comes out on the right side of this, because what a warrior he would be to come back to the truth.
Three things don't hang themselves: drywall, Christmas tree lights, and Jeffrey Epstein. And now, when I saw this 180 starting a few months ago with Patel and Bongino and this tour, I said, they're getting ready to completely say nothing exists.
Yep.
No black book, no nothing. When they testified in the Ghislaine Maxwell case that they did have a black book of specific clients.
Yep.
And that was suppressed by the court. I'll show you the news articles. Again, with Comey's daughter in there, making sure it was limited only to her. But she was convicted of sex trafficking. Now we're told he killed himself. There was no blackmail. There is no other accomplices. There is no client list. Even though we're told, yes, we've got all these giant files and videos and truckloads of hard drives. We have photos of and FBI reports.
Yep, nothing to see here, folks.
And now we're not told, oh, the Democrats destroyed all that. We're told, oh, we've got it now, and there's hundreds of new victims. And then we hear the sound of a record scratch or a car wreck. Oh, no, there's nothing. Now, obviously, it's on record that you've got the Israeli prime ministers and all the rest of it, and Maxwell's dad, high-level Mossad and MI6, and Epstein's CIA, and
There's no list now, ladies and gentlemen. They've destroyed every copy of any possible hope of getting that list out. Unless there was maybe one person in there that managed to be alone with that list long enough to copy it for posterity and truth's sake in the future. Some unsung hero, some saint managed to copy it to get it out later when things cool off a little bit, or at least when they can't be implicated in it and they don't end up hung in a jail cell somewhere. There's no chance of that list coming out. But the fact that this administration is covering it up so hard, and you've got Trump saying things like, you guys are still talking about Epstein, this creep? Yeah, the creep you were hanging out with? Yeah, everybody's still asking about that because that's the pertinent issue right now on everybody's fucking mind. That we want the fucking list, asshole. We want the fucking list. We know you're on it. That's why you're fucking covering up. That's why we keep driving hard and need to continue to drive hard forever on this. Forever. We need to continue to drive forward until we get at least some of the fucking names. Because I guarantee you the full list is non-existent. It's been destroyed. But we might get lucky and see some of the names on there, and we know who's on it. Everybody that was ever seen with Jeffrey Epstein, anybody that's ever been on a flight log with him, has been involved with him, is on that fucking list. He's on there. I guarantee it.
Barr involved in all of it. So yes, of course, it's Western intelligence running these blackmail honeypot control systems. That's been known to be a massive operation for 50, 60 years. In the UK newspapers, they just admit the
There he is. Let's go in here and talk to some of these young ladies. Fucking freaks.
government's run by pedophile blackmail. So
No. I don't want to do this. No. I didn't sign up for this. Get your ass in there. You see the body language? He doesn't even want to go in there. He's like, get in there. We got some films to make with you on them. As the drugs start kicking in, you know?
why in the hell would they then do this 180? Now, here is Trump going off, getting very upset with a reporter just minutes ago, and now you are going to see everywhere he goes. And again, I said yesterday, I said, look, this comes from Trump. And I said,
Look at his face twitching. You can tell that he's completely conflicted by this. That he wants so badly to say the words, Trump's on that list. He wants to say it, but it's just killing him because he got his mind and his whole business model wrapped up around it so hard. And the people that are threatening him and still threatening him to this day, I guarantee it, he wants so bad to come out with it. All we can do is pray for Alex Jones, whatever God you believe in, whatever God of truth you believe in. Be praying for Alex Jones that he does the correct thing here, because this is the turning point. This is the no turning back point. This is the fork in the road for him. If he decides to side with the MAGA cult, there's no turning back for him now at this point. This is, you're either standing for the truth or you're defending pedophiles. That's it. Simple as that.
understanding how this works, they've now got the files that the deep state was using to blackmail and control everybody. And then now Trump has control of those files. And that can be used to get the deep state to roll over to what he's doing. I didn't endorse that. I said that is what the evidence points to.
That's a cute theory. The problem is he's not releasing the files. Even if he was trying to use it to control certain people, he would definitely use it to destroy some of his opponents who are also definitely on that list. He would have released some of the names, but he's releasing none of the names because he's on the list. Because as the old saying goes, to incriminate you is to incriminate me. So if he incriminates any of these people, they'll say, hey, weren't you at that party too there, Trump? Weren't you there with me too? You were there too, weren't you? Yeah, you were. Go ahead and release that part of it too, because we've got copies of that list too we're all sitting on. That's the reason. And Alex Jones is still coping. We're going through the 5 stages of grief right now. He's in the negotiating stage, the bargaining stage of grief. So eventually comes acceptance, I hope, and he doesn't just keep doubling down, and go full disassociation.
And I said, we need a statement from Trump saying this needs to be released, or I want Pam Bondi to clarify why she's saying this, or we know that this is orders from Trump. And then hours later, by the time I got off air, it was about 3, 4 o'clock, he puts on Truth Social, oh, the FBI is doing a great job, Kash Patel and Bongino, and now they can focus on the important work of crime fighting. And he's specifically saying, hey, they're doing a great job, they're doing what I told them, and this is a distraction, we're going to move on.
And that's a problem. I hope that's the context he means that in. It's what it sounds like to me. It's what I want to believe, is that he's saying, hey, Trump is saying this is a huge distraction, but it really is the real problem. I hope that's what he's saying and not the opposite, which is going along with the narrative.
And they have shut down 96% of the human trafficking over the border, and they are rounding up the people trafficking kids. And that's in the indictments all over the news. But
they're shutting down the human trafficking of their opponents. There's constantly human trafficking, no matter what administration it is. And don't forget that Trump mainly is a businessman in real estate. And who do you think builds those houses? Most of them. It's not American contractors, I can guarantee you that, because that's too expensive. Now he may have some large contractors that he's got deals with, and then those subcontractors are likely illegal immigrants. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Trump is a real estate mogul.
Specifics are sealed because it's minors. So I'm seeing a lot of really good work here. And I'm seeing the Democrats ratchet up the violence. There needs to be blood. Democrat lawmakers say their base is prepping for violence. We're going to get to that coming up next hour. So,
well, there needs to be something, that's for sure.
if Trump did make some deal with big elements of the deep state to stop
You're getting warmer.
the civil war they're trying to trigger and all the rest of it, well, it doesn't look like the Soros people and the NGOs got the message, because they took their calls for violence from high to ultra high, and they are attacking and confronting and shooting at ICE people all over the country now. They just arrested 11 Antifa terrorists in North Texas who had to kill ICE agents. The ICE agents took them out quickly.
Because that's
They
the
shot a cop.
competition. It's a war of competition.
But he didn't die. Can you imagine if a Trump supporters went and did that? It'd be the end of the world. Of course, we wouldn't. So we got big issues.
It would be covered up like it always is. See, the difference between Democrats and Republicans, and it's very small, is that the Republicans are really good at covering their asses. They're really good at covering shit up. The Democrats, they're the same type of evil. They're just a little bit more open and out with it. It's not to say that I like the Democrats any better than the Republicans, because that's far from the truth. But at least the Democrats typically are not sneaky enough to cover their shit up with sand, you know? The Republicans, boy, are they good at it. You don't ever hear about anything they're doing until 20 years after everybody's fucking dead.
Folks, and Trump's trying to stop all these wars, and that's great. But when I see an unmitigated fiasco, I said to myself, you heard me on air, well, I just war gamed it. And I said, I hope I'm wrong, but I said, if we get a statement from him supporting this, that means that, you know, this is his orders, and that they have taken control of the deep state blackmail file, so that instead of Obama and the globalists and the Rothschilds and MI6 and Mossad being in control of it, Trump's people are. But then you look at that, and there's Israelis swarming all around. So,
Ding, 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 ding. We finally have some truth. There we go. Now you're getting somewhere, Alex. Not that he hasn't said these things in the past, but he has not directed them necessarily at the current administration, which is one of the biggest supporters of a certain foreign government overseas. And they're writing all of our policies right now.
and then people say, well, maybe Israel's blackmailing Trump with information.
Oh.
You know, that's what Elon is saying, is that no, Trump is in the files.
Yeah.
That would have come out before,
No.
when they were trying to stop him before. They're clearly coming after it. And I've never seen
They didn't have the files yet. Nobody did. And they still might not. They didn't have the files to come after Trump at the time. And now that Trump is in control, now he's in control of the DOJ. He's in control of every three-letter agency. That's the reason why he went after them first legally, to shut them up so that they could get a hold of all the information that could be used against Trump so that they can't use it. So that's incorrect. And Alex Jones damn well knows that.
one piece of evidence to that. No, this all points towards, bare minimum, Trump believes, and it's probably true, that if it comes out a bunch of head bankers and politicians and leaders and business leaders are in this, which we know they were, that will crash the stock market. That will just destroy America's image in the world. And so it's so horrible
Bingo. Right answer. Tell him what he's won, Bob.
that they made the decision not to bring it out. I'm not endorsing that. That's the thinking here. And now with Trump endorsing what the FBI just did with this ridiculous memo, That's what it is. And you heard Judge Joe Brown's very smart. He agreed with me yesterday and said he thinks that's what's going on. But he thinks Trump later is going to bring it out. I don't know. But I'm not an apologist for any of this. I'm simply wargaming the different angles. And so the corporate media and others take clips out of context just because I'm saying what I believe is going on and I'm a Trump supporter overall. People then think, oh, well, that's an endorsement. No, that's called critical thinking and wargaming. That's what we do. It's how I said in the last few months, you're going to start seeing Antifa shoot up ICE facilities in federal buildings. And it's happening. It's not even hard.
He's right about that. I covered that in another video. You don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to be some Miss Cleo from the 90s to see what they're doing. You just have to have a little bit of intuition and understand the lizard mindset. And Alex Jones, to his credit, you know, he tries to see what's going to happen at least from 3 different directions at any point in time. And then when one of those 3 things happens, it's like, see, I told you. But, you know, he also pushed the other 2 or 3 things. So he is normally correct about what happens, but he's also equally incorrect when it comes to some of the other theories that he comes up with. But like I said, to his credit, at least one of the 3 theories that he puts out there with any serious event like this one usually ends up being the truth. Now, again, fork in the road moment. Is he going to stand for the truth?
And at the level they're escalating in their rhetoric, Democrat lawmakers are calling for outright violence and blood now, and the Democrats are foaming at the mouth. Don't help any of the kids in Texas. They're white Trump supporters. I mean, the Democrats are on TV, on broadcast, saying, don't send money to white people. I mean, that is the most crazy, hateful, pitting themselves against dead little girls. But they're deranged, folks. So,
They're all deranged. That's the thing. They're all out of their minds.
here's Trump, and you're going to see a lot more
Republicans
of
and
this now,
Democrats.
because when I got up here yesterday and predicted all this, it wasn't hard to predict it. It's like saying if I took a hatchet and slammed it down on my 4 fingers, then I'm going to have fingers cut off and blood spraying everywhere. That's not a prediction. That's cause and effect. And so if they were going to use the blackmail file, they would just shut up about it and then say they were investigating and slow roll it. Instead,
That's exactly what they're doing now. But they're not using it against the deep state because they are the deep state, the people that we see right in front of us, as well as some secret actors that we don't see. They're all pissing in the same pot. And Alex Jones used to understand that before he got scared, before he got scary.
we've got it. Oh, it's going to come out. Not just Bondi, all of them. That's loading the gun, putting the deep state's head, saying, we'll do it, we'll do it. We've sent it to the FBI offices around the country. We'll do it. And then they come back and say, fine, we'll stop our attacks on you. We'll roll over.
No, what they'll say is, we've got the same information and you're on the list too. That's the reason the files haven't come out, Alex. You damn well know it. Again, he's still bargaining inside of his own mind. He's still weighing his options when it comes to himself and his family and his business model. But the thing is, if he stands for integrity and he stands for truth, all of the people, including new people, will come flocking back to him for being a beacon of hope that someday we might actually get all of the truth all at once and there might be some sort of change. That's who he used to be, what he used to stand for.
We'll get out of the way, your project to relaunch America and all the great things you're doing. But you got to come out and say it's closed and it's over so that you're tied to it, so that you can't ever stab us in the back. And then this is what you get. That's how this stuff works. And that's what I believe is good.
Even if he's right, they will do new projects like they did with Epstein to create another blackmail campaign. So if it doesn't come out now, they'll just do it again. But it's not going to come out for reasons already discussed, Alex.
On. And I wasn't sure of it yesterday, though my gut was. And now I know it.
Need to start going with your gut, homie.
And it makes me feel sick
And that's why.
because we need Trump to succeed.
No, we need for the American people to succeed, not the American government to succeed, no matter who's in office. It's not them, it's us. We need to succeed, not the handful of lizards out in the front that are supposedly representing us, because they don't represent most of us, and we all damn well know that.
He's not a pedophile, from everything I know, and also my gut. And I operate off the Holy Spirit as well. And literally, I prayed about it 9+ years ago. God said, no, support Trump. And you
Gotta be careful with your prayers and who's talking to you in your ear, because that doesn't necessarily mean that has to be God. There's a lot of other bad actors that pretend to be God that whisper sweet nothings in your ear, especially when you're in a position like Alex Jones, who's a man that goes with his gut. And your gut's not always right. His gut used to be right, but I think he's drank some Kool-Aid over the last 10 years or so. Some red MAGA Kool-Aid.
seen all the evil come against me and my operation because of that. And now you see the good fruits of what Trump's doing on so many fronts.
I don't see it.
And they're massively cutting off the human trafficking, the sex slavery. So they've cut that spigot off that we know Mayorkas and the Democrats were running, and we know they're pedos. I mean, we know it's in the WikiLeaks. And so I'm having to balance all of this in my mind, but I cannot sit here and watch Trump when he's having so much success, metaphorically, put a shotgun to his foot and blow it off. This is the equivalent of taking a 12-gauge shotgun and putting it up against your boot, right in the middle of your foot, and going boom. And I mean, when I woke up yesterday morning at 6 a.m. and my phone was low, I was just, I literally was staggering around. Just like, actually, I sat on the couch and we fell down on the couch. I was just like, just process.
And we need to keep pushing until Trump blows both of his fucking feet off, if he is on that list. And from the looks of it, from his words, from how he gets all squirmy every time it's brought up, it sure is looking that way. So yeah, we need to keep pushing until he doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. And the smoking gun is that list. No matter how many videos he's seen in, no matter how many fucking flight logs he's confirmed to be on, he has to come out that he either went to that island or was involved. And by the way, the first time that he slept with Melania was when he met Melania during one of Epstein's little sexcapades. That's how he met Melania Trump, by the way. Melania Trump is an escort model from Russia. Wake up. Trump really seems to lean in on them Russian women for some reason, doesn't he? Kind of interesting. Not a smoking gun, but it's another one of those little pieces of little crumbs that leads back to the fucking poison pie.
This because I could just see everything that was going to come out of this. Oh my goodness gracious.
More despair, more bargaining.
And I understand the hard choices in Trump's mind. Hundreds and hundreds of corporate leaders and government leaders.
Oh yeah, poor Trump. He's really going through it right now. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's rightfully so that he's going through it right now. Maybe we need to turn up the fucking heat. So the frog jumps out of the pot and we see him for what he is. A fucking reptile.
Most of them Democrats, some Republican, brutally raping little kids. And folks, it's not just 16 and 15-year-old girls. No, that's how they limited the court cases. So you hear that? No.
He's right about that.
So that's where we are. And Trump is very smart. So what did he think was going to happen when people are so well educated about Epstein? The general public's illiterate about most political intrigue and history and, energy and science. But no, people know about Epstein now. I mean, almost everybody's read in on it. It's been this big soap opera. And so,
oh, look, there they are, all holding the redacted files that everybody else has access to. Nothing new in there, but look, we got it, folks. We got it. See, right here, we're going to look into it. Yeah, sure.
So now you take the biggest thing that people question and don't trust the government over, because it's one of the few big things they're actually informed on. There's stuff even a lot worse. And then you do a 180 and tell us Epstein killed himself and there was no black book and there was no human trafficking and there was no blackmail, when it's a gigantic on-record blackmail operation.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Bill Gates said, oh, Epstein tried to blackmail him. I mean, it's like, it's known. And that's him dissing himself. He actually works for Bill Gates. He has a bunch of bosses, but no, Gates is in there. How do you think Gates gets control all these top scientists?
How do you think somebody like Trump becomes
We got
president
more
of
on
the
that
United
coming up.
States?
Patrick McDavid had a very credible MK Ultra former sex slave on. And I know who she is. I know about some of the cases. But you watch it knowing what I know about all this stuff, it's 100% true. That clip's coming up. But
We're not going to get into that.
I will do what I have to do. And I will tell you what I believe is the most accurate thing. And you notice most of the time I'm right. And boy, I wish I wouldn't. Man, when I saw that statement by Trump yesterday afternoon, again, I'm not normally like this. I had to go lay down in my office.
Because he realized he'd been betrayed.
About 20 minutes. Because I got a piercing headache. Because we need Trump to succeed and he's doing so much good.
Wrong.
But you can't
More bargaining.
try to control evil.
Truth.
You can't decide, well, for the greater good, because this would hurt America and the stock market too much. This is just too horrible. We can't bring this out.
Exactly, which is why you need to stop defending Trump. He falls right in line with everything else he's talking about right now, like the American economy and America's image on the world stage. Trump is all a part of that, so stop defending him. If you're not going to defend the rest of it, don't defend him.
And the way it was done, which I guarantee you, making the deal with the globalists, to supposedly roll over, they said, well, just do this, which was the trap. And of course, that's the last piece that hasn't been confirmed, but I guarantee you that's going on. That's exactly how it went down. And that's how evil gets you. You think you're going to manipulate it and use it for good, and then it stabs you in the back every time.
True.
That's why you can't put the One Ring on, because you can always win a couple battles, but it's going to make you lose the war in the end, because it's going to take you over.
To incriminate you.
It's a
is to
metaphysical
incriminate me.
archetype that's so true.
So that's all I've got for you tonight. Going to try to upload this. I'm betting YouTube's probably going to shit all over it the moment I try to. That's part of the reason why I've kind of leaned away from the longer form videos, because of what I talk about. They won't allow me to promote it. They won't allow me to push it out. Sometimes they won't even let me upload it. So going to try anyway. A lot of work goes into these videos, more than you probably think. If you like what you're hearing, unlike Alex Jones, I'm always going to tell the truth the way I see it, no matter how many threats they make, because I got a death wish anyway. Joking, sort of. So I'm going to tell the truth. I don't give a damn. I'm going to tell the truth the way I see it. And if they don't like it, then they can suppress it all they want to. Eventually the truth's going to come out, and I'm going to be on the right side of history, and they're not, and that's all that matters to me. So do me a favor. If you like what you're hearing, if you like this content, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell so you get a notification whenever I put out a new video, whether it's copywritten, stricken, or not. And that's all I got for tonight. And you'll see me next time. Thanks.
From the ash, we rise again.